Hey everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm Andrew Zarin. I'm joined by the originator of the hostile takeover, Rich Stambolian.
Oh, hell yeah, baby. I'm going to take everything over. Everything but the corporate hostile takeover. I'm just hostile. I see you eating at McDonald's, I'll take your burger. I see you in line at the movies, I take your ticket. I see you at the car wash, I drive your car away.
That's nice.
It's hostile.
It's just hostile, very hostile.
Nothing you can do about it.
We have a lot to talk about today. We had a very different show planned for everybody today. It was supposed to be a fun show about Wrestle Kingdom and everything, and AEW, and it was just going to be a very light show today. That's not happening. Last night, or late afternoon, after the market closed, bits and pieces started coming out. Wall Street Journal put out a story about Vince McMahon's potential return to WWE. And that has now become that he is returning to WWE, and already things are in place. This is a developing story as we're talking, so maybe things will change by the end of this. We're recording this early morning on a Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. By the time the podcast is out within 2 hours, I'm hoping a lot doesn't change because I want this to be fresh information, but it is what it is. So, Rich, you did not expect this today.
I'm here. No, you know what? It's fine because I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna be the fan and I'm gonna pepper in some questions because it's not the return people are thinking of. You know, when you see Vince McMahon returns, automatically folks will say he's gonna be on TV. He's taking Triple H's job. No. This is very corporate. This is all about the money, as it should be, right?
You know, I even had a bit here because I was like, oh, it's all about the Monet today. I was going to do one of these and I was going to throw a stack of 20s on you.
Uh-huh.
That was my bit. And obviously you're not here now, so everything is ruined. All right. Let's start off here.
Okay.
Wall Street Journal yesterday put out information that Vince McMahon had informed the WWE board of his intent to return to help facilitate a rights deal or a potential sale. I'm gonna touch on this again, okay? About the sale part, because I felt that it was more strong-arming than anything else, that he could start a sale, or we'll get to this. He'll take on the role as executive chairman, which is a very powerful role in the company. A lot of people are constantly asking me, is she going to do creative? If he is the executive chairman of the board, this man has tremendous power. And at the end of the day, he still controls 80-something% of the shares, the Class B shares. There's nobody more powerful than Vince McMahon in WWE. So, of course, he's going to have a hand in creative and what TV's doing and what everything is happening. It's not like he's only going to deal with money. No, he's going to be very hands-on.
Now,
even with Hunter there.
What is a Class B share? For those that don't know,
it's the public share. He controls 81% of it.
Okay.
It's a Class B or Class C is essentially. It's a common share of the preferred stock. So, without going into
you could buy some as Andrew, I could buy some as Rich, and we would be stockholders.
Yeah, it typically has strong voting rights, right? So essentially you can't do anything. If he controls 81% of the company, of the Class B share or whatever, it's his company. There's nothing you could do.
Right.
Without a board vote. Without a investor's vote. So he's going to take the executive chairman position right now. Also, this is the fascinating part, right? Returning to the board will be Michelle Wilson and George Barrios. Michelle Wilson and George Barrios were co-CEOs of the company, and up until 2020, they were there. Barrios was there for a long time. Wilson came in. Wilson had a good financial background. Same thing with Barrios. And they were let go around the time of in early 2020, or was it 2019? I can't remember when they were let go, but I
want to say 2020.
They were let go from a long-term position. So the shakeup started then. This morning, Joe Ellen Dillon, Jeffrey Speed, and Alan Wexler were removed from the board. or will be vacating the board. Do you want to read the direct quote from Vince on this?
Here's a direct quote from Vince McMahon. WWE is entering a critical juncture in its history with the upcoming media rights negotiations coinciding with increased industry-wide demand for quality content and live events, and with more companies seeking to own the intellectual property on their platform. So in a nutshell, somebody wants to buy WWE. The only way for WWE to fully capitalize on this opportunity is for me to return as executive chairman and support the management team in negotiating our media rights, and to combine that with a review of strategic alternatives. My return will allow WWE, as well as any transaction counterparties, to engage in these processes, knowing they will have the support of the controlling shareholder.
Yeah.
WWE has an exceptional management team in place, and I do not intend for my return to have any impact on their roles, duties, or responsibilities. So Andrew, break that down. From my perspective, and I'm not a corporate guy, I don't do corporate speak.
Okay.
He's basically saying, hey, listen, if you want to sell the company, I need to be the one there to do it because I have the relationships that I've already established over the past 50, who knows how many years.
Yeah. By the way, I'm having some problems with my camera here. Rich, I'm frozen. So I'm going to do my best to explain it here, and I'm going to put the camera on you while I try to figure out what the hell's going on. Pretty much, all he's saying is I'm not going to fire anybody. I'm not going to shake up the structure of the company. I'm not going to change the responsibilities. He's not coming in as CEO. He's not coming in to shake it up because the structure is fine, but he will be the chairman of the board. You don't get more powerful than that, really. And he has 80-something% of the Class B share, and he's essentially an instant. It's his company. It's a publicly traded company, but it's his company essentially. So McMahon sent out 2 letters to the board of directors in late December, in which he wrote this to the board, and then the board responded back with essentially, I don't want you to do this. We don't want you to do this. And he essentially said in his second letter, he goes, unless I have direct involvement and input as executive chairman from the outset, I will not be able to support or approve any media rights deals or strategic transactions. So he blocked the company. Yeah. He said, okay.
He basically said, let me remind you who I am.
Let me remind you who I am and what kind of power I have. You will not get a TV deal because I have to approve it because he... essentially, and also he put in a new byline where it says that the voting, you have to now vote on TV deals and any kind of sale. The shareholders have a say in it. So
now, is that unprecedented or
it's not unprecedented? No, it depends. He pulled that card out of nowhere to kind of lock him in because he controls the Class B share. So, of course, if he wants to sell it, he's going to be able to. Of course, he wants a TV deal, he's going to be able to. And if he doesn't want it, you're not getting it. You want to take a quick little pause so I could try to fix this problem here?
Sure.
I'm going to put the camera on you here.
All right. Yeah, it's wild stuff. It's very interesting. So, me personally, guys, if you've watched the show, I'm 3 seconds away from falling asleep right now. When the corporate talk happens, that's when Richie goes bye-bye. But this stuff is interesting because it's not something that, yes, this came out of nowhere, but it's also not something us as fans felt like is coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Everybody had that that fear in their pit of their stomach that this guy's gonna show up again like the Loch Ness Monster or some shit like that.
All right, I'm gonna try to fix this. So we're gonna be frozen for a little bit here, boys and girls. I'm not moving here. I'll just keep it on Rich. Let's see, where were we?
In order for him to assume the role of executive chairman upon returning, WWE's board of directors would need to approve it. That's where we are. There are 11 board seats, so he needs 6 yes votes.
He needs 6
Majority
yes votes. Yeah. This is fascinating stuff. I'm very fascinated by this. Hang on. No, do you have the USB one? Yeah, that's the one I need. Thank you. Intern Deacon coming in with a spare capture card here. Nobody could see me hold it up.
With the save.
Let's see if I could get this going here. We'll edit all this out, guys.
So essentially, like I said, we were joking around before the show started. He's essentially doing what his buddy the Donald did. He's loading up the board with people that he can get yes from.
Well, I mean, that's essentially, any kind of company like this, we're not talking about Apple or Microsoft that have such a public-facing, every move that they make is a detriment or a positive to the company. I think for WWE, when you have a creator like this, like, it's his company. He created the company, and he put it in a way where, he got ousted, but he really couldn't have been ousted. He only did it during the investigation. His attorneys, and he feels that there's nothing there. WWE does not feel the same. They feel that there is something there, and they even stated in the letter to him that, oh, there we go. Can you open it and set it and help me? Thank you. He essentially, we're doing like a wacky morning zoo show here. He essentially, you can't really do much without McMahon at this point.
Right. So, like, once again, he's making himself the focal point of, his company. Fascinating stuff. Do you want to, while you're working on that, since these are topical, you want to take some super chats? That way we can continue with the actual news when you're all set. This is from $10 from Schreier here. Hello, my sweet potato Matman brothers. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. If Vince returns to run the show, how will he book the main events of WrestleMania? Use your inner Vince voice.
Well, I'm going to touch on some... That's going to be hard for me to do because Vince will be very involved with WrestleMania. I always thought he would be involved with WrestleMania. I always thought they would bring him in for WrestleMania to be in some sort of, position for it. Whether or not I don't know. I don't know if this changes a positive or negative. I don't know.
Well, there's also old school talent that don't want to work with anybody else but Vince as the man in charge. Yeah,
that's something that really there's a lot of talent that would prefer to work with Vince than anybody else. I don't want to. Right. I know that we've heard this before. I'm not naming names, but like, would Dwayne want to work with Vince over working with Nick and Steph and Hunter? Would Austin want to work with Vince rather than Nick, Steph, and Hunter? I don't know. Maybe, possibly.
It's a possibility. Next year's main event, The Rock versus the Dwayne. He's gonna clone him. He's gonna clone The Rock.
You think that's what he's
gonna be? It's gonna be a digital. It's gonna be a full blown digital main event where it's The Rock versus Dwayne.
Oh my god!
And he's gonna sell tickets. He could do it. Like if you've seen special effects in movies now, if they can make Avatar, you can do The Rock versus Dwayne Johnson.
Dude, I want to make an Avatar.
As a WrestleMania main event.
All right, why don't you go through Super Chat while I get this video working?
Yeah. This is from Kyle Masters. What's up, Kyle? 10 wonderful Canadian dollars for the boys. Hope 2023 will be great for you both. Thanks, man. Hoping to collab again soon. Yeah, dude. Thank you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, one and all. This is our first show in the new year. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Let's see what else we got here. Another from Schreier. I hope I'm saying your name right. I wish I had Mad Vince returning on my 2023 bingo. I think it's been on people's wrestling bingo sheets this year. Last year was wild, and we're off to a nutty start. So if that's any indication, the rest of 2023 might be effing bananas, Besides Vince coming back, you had Kenny Omega teaming with Okada, which is the only thing I want to talk about. But here we are. We got another $2 from Kyle Masters. Andrew Frozarian. That's pretty funny. MG, are you there?
I was muted. Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Are you here? When I ask you if you're there, do you say yes and then forget you're muted?
No, I know I'm muted.
So what do you make of this whole situation here?
He wants to be back. I don't know. I think, you guys talked about this a while back, and he wants to be. We always assumed he might come back. That was always a play that could happen, and in what capacity we still don't know. So I expect him to be back, and at some point I think he's just going to slowly creep back into power. Unfortunately.
From your
getting Andrew back.
From your fans' perspective, does this make you feel queasy?
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that's the general consensus of like, we've been seeing people's reactions online the whole morning, and it's very much like, we even got like we had a guy in our chat room send us money just to say don't come back, Vince.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating, and I feel like internally probably there's people who,
I'm back.
who are driving to work today thinking, uh-oh.
I'm back.
Hi.
I'm almost done.
Hey, look at you.
I'm back.
He's back.
Yeah, so I don't know. This whole system's falling apart here, so we're gonna have to do it like this. All right, there we go. My hair's all messed up now too. I got a weird camera going. All right, we'll figure it out.
Don't you have a spare video card in your hair?
That's where I got it out of.
Like,
That's where I pulled it out.
like
of.
the Matrix,
Look at this.
a giant
It's a bad
mnemonic.
angle. All right, so where were we?
Okay, so in order for him to, let's go back to that point that we were trying to make. In order for him to assume the role of executive chairman upon returning, WWE's board of directors would need to approve it. There are 11 board seats, so he needs 6 yes votes.
He's gonna get it. I mean, unless they attempt, to kind of block this in some sort of legal way and fight it and delay it. But if he truly has, I gotta look. I don't know what their bylines. I don't know what their laws are within the company. I don't know, but if he has 81% of the shares, he has all the power. I don't see how they won't vote him. Because he'll block a sale or he'll block a TV deal. This is a coup, essentially, right? It's a coup d'etat.
So, okay, so I'm gonna pepper in something from the chat here. WWE stock went up 10.22% on the news that WWE might be sold, right? Delvec 19.
They're up 17% right now. 17%.
Delvec 19 in our chat room said WWE stock was just halted.
Oh, was it really?
Can you check on that real quick?
Yeah.
Is that something that can happen?
Yeah, you could halt the stock, but I don't know if it's halted right now.
This is such big news that we even have Suncast in the chat room.
No, it's moving.
Yeah?
Yeah. And he's fixing the video. Thank God. Look at that. Amazing stuff here. He's fixing my
Beautiful.
video.
Way to go, Suncast.
There he goes.
Sunchat.
Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Very interesting. So, I mean, listen, I feel that this is going to be a detriment to the company? It depends. It really depends. I don't know how, what does this mean for Hunter? What does this mean for Steph? What does this mean for Nick Khan? I could tell you the last time I met with WWE or anybody from that company, nobody wanted him back. And I was told that people that were his allies in that company are far happier now than they were previously. And their jobs have gotten a lot easier without Vince's, I guess, direction. It's more relaxed to work in that company.
People could breathe easier.
What?
People could breathe easier.
I was told that people, like, he was a great example of what I was told. People are not afraid to go, like, to be like, hey, I need a couple days off. Right? That's like a very bottom end thing. But that morale kind of trickles. And they have been on a high. WWE's been on a high this entire year. At least the second half of the year. The perception of that company has changed. They're becoming modernized. Their booking is getting fixed. And I don't know, listen, and I can't attribute that to Vince leaving or not, because it could just be that somebody had a hot idea and there's a hot program and they're continuing it. But these are all positives. And we saw the shift when they announced that Vince was leaving. We saw that shift happen immediately, where people are like, wow, finally, right? WWE's changing.
Yeah.
Now, what are we going to get? This is going to get ugly. I can't see this being, a super smooth transition and full welcome to Vince right now.
No. No, not at all. It is going to get ugly. It's going to be. He's gonna live to be his character in certain regards. I think, as far as perception goes, for a lot of people, probably.
Yeah.
Let's take a couple of quick super chats that are pertinent to
Let's
this.
take it.
This is a funny one. Cadillac Carson, Vince pinning Roman for the title at Mania, calling it right now. Should have been my bold prediction. That'd be hysterical.
God, can you imagine? He takes the title.
I'm taking the company and I'm taking the title. This is from Kyle Masters. This is a good one with regards to the sale. Who do we think Vince would be selling to?
I don't have any information that I was told, and I wouldn't even if I did. But my guess would be, which I honestly don't know anything about a sale or who would be the suitor for them. But I would imagine it would be Peacock. Vince has a very strong relationship with NBC, and I could tell you when Vince left, there were key people within that company that were very disappointed that Vince was leaving.
I feel like that's the obvious answer. I've said this for years. I would go with Disney. I feel like it's good. It's going to be Disney at the end of the day. For some reason, I just have like that weird feeling. We have Han Stoli.
Disney. Here's the problem. Disney is looking to offload ESPN. They're looking to get out of the sports market now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't see it becoming Disney.
Here's one that's kind of relative. Han Stoli says, "Will Vince sell to the highest seller? The highest buyer, or be selective?"
I think he's going to be selective, but he also, who would be the highest bidder? There's only a couple options. There's only a couple conglomerates like that. It's not going to be, Paramount. Could it be Fox? Possible. Could it be Disney? Possible. But really, outside
Amazon.
of that, Amazon. I mean, Amazon purchasing WWE. You also have to look at what is their value, right? Like, what's their cost to purchase? You're dumping a lot of money, and who has that kind of money to dump into professional wrestling? We're not talking about a couple of $100 million. We're talking about billions.
It's a lot of money, especially, like when you need some kind of like epic chart to figure out exactly the ins and outs of how much running WWE costs. Because it's nuts. It's the biggest show. It's the biggest touring show on the planet, right? At this point.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the circus, it's a touring circus at this point.
Here's another one from Chris Farrell. Would Vince involved again be a perk for a buyer?
It depends on who the buyer is.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me fix my focus here, because my focus is a little wacky.
It definitely depends on who the buyer is. If you have these old school business guys, of course they're going to want Vince. Even if it's like a young executive, they'll probably want Vince. It's very fascinating. Again, I can't speak for myself. I'm not a corporate person. I don't get involved in corporate dealings, and I never have. But again, from my perspective, who knows? But I would love it to be Disney. I just think only because I've been saying it for years.
Sorry, guys. This little issue has put a snafu in my life. What was the last question? Vince's involvement? Yeah, I think there is a perk for certain people, depending on who he wants to sell to and for what price. Nick has said publicly that he's for, if the right price comes, he'll sell. I don't know necessarily, or think, maybe the sale thing is a kind of like strong arming them in a way. Like, if I don't get, I won't approve anything.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's going to end up being Disney, right? That's where you're going.
Like I said, only because I've said that on this show for a number of years.
All right.
I want to toot my own horn over here. Kyle in the chat says, I lost it. Hang on. Kyle in the chat says, we all know it's Elon Musk. Let's be real.
Would that be worse or better than Vince coming?
Can you do an Elon Musk impression?
I can't do his voice. I've tried. It's terrible.
It's almost like a Howard, right? Where it's like he's got.
It is almost like a Howard. Robin.
Why would I buy wrestling?
What? It's just robots. It's just robots fighting.
He's a robot. We got another.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got another one here from Schreier, which is interesting, kind of taking it to the other side of it. All right. How will this affect AEW? Positive?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the grass isn't always greener, right? And when Vince leaving changed that perspective for WWE, where a lot of talent, listen, we saw it, right? We saw it, and we know, and we've spoken about who's considered leaving. We've heard those names. Andrade is a possibility. Miro's a possibility. Malachi was out the door, and then he came, everything that I've heard, a lot of these guys went over there. The second Vince left and Hunter was in charge of creative, they immediately wanted to see if there's a way that they could get out. I'm not naming those names. I'm not saying that those are the people, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just naming WWE names that went over there. Some of them possibly, yes. I actually, some of them are names that called over and, they've considered and they've spoken to people, not in an official capacity, but like their unhappiness with AEW. Mm-hmm. This is an upside for Tony. This is another, and it's also, here's the other thing, right? You're in a TV deal. You're going into a TV year. Your competition is having this bizarre corporate structure fall apart. It kind of makes you look a little bit more in control. If you're Turner, obviously you have this animosity towards WWE always because it's another property. You're going up against Peacock, which they're all competing. You have this property. This may boost AEW to say, "Wow, look, we could really not AEW, but Warner Discovery. Hey, listen, we have a great property here. We could compete with WWE if Vince is back because of all the negative that they've heard." Anything could happen right now. Both companies are in contract years. That is why this is happening today. That is why Vince is wants to be back in the mix here. But it's also his company, and he waited. He sent this letter out December 27th originally. The board responded. He responded back on the 31st, and now we're 6-7 days later. And the story is that he's back. Can you take the lower third off, MG? Or did he fall asleep?
I think he fell asleep. I think he's been asleep.
I love seeing Hashemi's posts, but there he goes. Look, he's doing it manually. I can see him do this. Okay. Come on, keep scrolling.
You mean by manually, you mean he's reaching for the screen with his peanut butter hand?
Yeah, with his peanut butter hands. There you go. He can take it off. I spoke to a couple people there last night and this morning. This morning I got a nice little input, but talent not very thrilled over this. They, many of the talent felt that they were finally getting over this Vince leaving hump and things were kind of moving forward without distractions. And now here's another crazy distraction and possible stop and go. Listen, Vince will always be involved with creative. Even if he came out and said, "I have nothing to do with creative anymore," I would not believe it. How can you not? It's like, dude, somebody's doing, let's say we get another show on the network and I'm not really involved with that show. I don't do anything with that show, but I don't like a direction they're going in. I'm going to make them stop.
Right.
It's still my company. It's still Vince's company. And, for good, bad, I don't know what the outcome is going to be for creative, but I would assume it's not going to be great. So you had a 40-year-old man, 75-year-old man writing television that's catering to teenagers and 18 into, a hot demo.
But also, it's a 75-year-old man that can't sit on his hands.
No,
right?
A 75-year-old billionaire. 75-year-old billionaire that can't sit on his hands.
And, for better or for worse, like that's the guy you're dealing with. And that's nuts in and of itself. Here's a comment from Chris in the super chat, Chris Farrell. Shad Khan buys WWE for Invasion 2.0.
He can't afford it. It's a lot of money. I mean, I guess he can. He can afford it, but why would you? Why would you dump money like that? That would be something, right?
Wouldn't it? That Shad Khan shows up on like Monday Night Raw and he's like, "Guess what,
twirling the mustache?
Boy? Guess what, bud?" And then Tony Khan's like, "Sacre bleu, mi papa."
Because he's French. Yeah.
Because it's French.
He's French. Tim B in the chat room. There's a reason Dunn and Pritchard weren't fired the day he left. This was the plan all along. Dunn. I never saw Pritchard and Dunn leaving.
Unfireable. Dunn's unfireable.
His replacement left. Remember?
There you go.
So who are you replacing Kevin Dunn with? And Pritchard's been fine. I don't. You know what's interesting? I don't hear a lot of negative about Bruce, and except from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't hear like from like people within that structure like, oh, Bruce Pritchard, he's a real piece of crap, or Bruce Pritchard doesn't know what he's doing. I've never heard that once. Even people in key positions that would maybe be opposed Vince's reign, So I don't. The guy is. I mean, he's spinning 5,000 plates at the same time. He doesn't have a very easy job. None of these guys have easy jobs. It's not like any other environment. You have multiple hats that you're wearing there. Especially if you're a guy like Bruce Pritchard that's been there, that was there from the beginning. From the 80s on. I think the direction that the story here will be Vince comes in. What happens to Nick? Is Nick for this? We don't know. Is Steph for this? Is Hunter for this? Who wrote that letter? Where is it? Who? The board addressed it, but who was addressing it from the board? Was it the chairwoman? Was it Steph? Got to be a fly on that wall.
I think for anything like this,
It's wild. It's wild. All right. Do we have any more questions about this before we move on?
Yeah, guys, send us your last couple of Vince questions if you want to super chat us. We'll read them right away. And we
Shane
still
wrote
have
it. Shane wrote the letter.
Shane, my papa. We have a lot of other stuff to talk about too besides Vince McMahon.
Yeah. And also, this is interesting because, Vince let go of a lot of people that he did not see in a key position. And those people are back now.
Yeah.
What happens now? WWE stock is blown up 17% up.
I wonder what the vibe is in the office right now and amongst the talent.
I can tell you it's very tense in the office right now. A lot of people are scrambling to kind of put this together. There's also a all employees Zoom meeting scheduled for later this afternoon.
Oh, Christ.
So that's gonna be a fascinating thing. So by the way, there's a new press release. Brandon Thirst, a new press release from WWE announcing the return of Vince McMahon to the board. Independent directors Ingus Lahoud and Manjeet Singh have resigned from the board effective today. Joint comment from Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, and Paul. Let's see what this is. WWE is providing a follow-up update regarding the composition of its board of directors and exploration of strategic alternatives. Such corporate lingo, huh?
Yeah.
Today we announced that the founder of WWE, Vince McMahon, will be returning to the board, said chairwoman and co-CEO Stephanie McMahon, co-CEO Nick Khan, and chief content officer Triple H. We also welcome back Michelle Wilson and George Barrios to our board of directors. Together, we look forward to exploring all strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value. We look forward to exploring all strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value. You know what that means to me? Possible sale. This is not for TV. As Vince McMahon stated yesterday, WWE has an exceptional management team in place, and I do not intend for my return to have any impact on their role, duties, and responsibilities. In connection with the change in the composition of the board of directors and cooperation with Vince McMahon as a majority shareholder, the company intends to undertake a review of its strategic alternatives with the goal being to maximize value for all WWE shareholders. There is no assurance that this process will result in a transaction. Vince McMahon, in his capacity as controlling shareholder of the company, has removed Joe Ellen Dillon, Jeffrey R. Speed, and Alan M. Wexler from the board. Vince McMahon, George Barrios, Michelle Wilson have been added to the board to fill in resulting vacancies. Okay. I mean, let's see who the board of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So Vince has all the power. Yeah. Those are, I mean, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, Triple H, Michelle Wilson, George Barrios. There's your 6 votes.
Listen, Triple H swerve. This is when art becomes life.
When art becomes life, man.
When art imitates life, Triple H with the swerve and he doesn't vote.
I mean, this is
Vince.
the real Succession. You want to talk about a movie about a family business that becomes $1 billion business? This is it.
Well, you know, how far in the future do you think that this whole McMahon family drama is going to be dramatized for a film or television series without their say so? Like without
a lifetime. How about a Lifetime movie? A Lifetime movie premiere.
By
the way, there's still an investigation happening on Vince.
I know, it's wild.
There's still an investigation. This is not like I don't think Johnny Ace is coming back. Taylor in our chat room. Is there any possibility Vince brings back Johnny Ace? I can't imagine. I don't think Johnny wants to be back. Why would he?
He's like a Genghis Khan. Crazy.
This is, by the way, Brandon
wild.
Thurston. Big shout out to Brandon Thurston. Everybody tweet this man. He has done, unbelievable work here.
It's also wild to me how an internal employee meeting has broken as news that, you know, we're not going to be in that meeting, obviously.
I get a call at 4:00 though. I'll tell you that.
Very nice.
I'll get it.
Well, like, hopefully the call isn't, I can't help you anymore, dude.
I mean, it's done. It's done. It's over. It's officially, it's official. WWE put out a freaking press release. Vince is back. Expect him on TV. Wrong camera. There you go. This one.
I feel like there's not. Listen, this isn't over. This whole thing isn't over.
No, but I mean the everything people thought this company would be doing a week ago. What does WWE look like in 2023? We did a freaking prediction show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what did I say? I said Vince will be back in what capacity? Something on TV?
I think you said creative.
I said something with he'll be back for WrestleMania for some.
You said
sort
on
of,
television.
He'll be on TV. Yeah, I said on TV.
We'll see.
Oh, I'm telling you, this fucking guy's gonna stroll out there, arms a flapping, as happy as a clam.
He's gonna get booed out of the building.
No, and I guarantee you know what? He won't be booed. He will not be booed out that building. They will.
Let's say
eat
depending
it
on the town. Let's say depending on the town. If it's a smart wrestling town,
like New
boot
York,
out of the building.
No,
like
man,
New York will boom. Maybe not.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. It's a cult of personality. Man, this hypothetical of CM Punk returning to WWE. Fascinating now.
We got another one from Schreier here.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to put up for you.
Yeah.
How will it affect the Regal return?
I don't think it's going to affect the Regal return. Regal was super respected. He wasn't let go because of a fundamental change with Vince. He very much, Vince changed his life and gave him an opportunity. He's very fond of Vince, and Vince is very fond of him. So I don't expect Regal to be impacted by this. Now, will NXT be impacted by this?
If he goes back to creative, let's say, do you think all the good stuff we saw in the last
but it's less creative
is going to be?
It's less creative. It's more direction, right? It's the direction of the future of the company.
Yeah,
he will 100% be in charge of this. Everything is intertwined, man. Everything at the end of the day is intertwined. Your creative has a direct impact on Monday nights. Creative has a direct impact on that stock. If something terrible happens.
Yeah.
If those numbers start dropping for ratings, they're doing okay right now. But if those numbers start plummeting for who knows what reason, which I don't expect it to be a free-for-all. I expect tonight's SmackDown to be pretty big.
Oh yeah, wild. Speaking of SmackDown, should we move on?
Should we move on, guys? Yeah, MG, anything else I got to add to this? Any last minute stuff?
You nailed it. I think you
Okay.
put it to bed pretty good.
You got to do me a favor, though, buddy. Please.
Sounds so sleepy.
Please. You take the peanut butter off your hands when you're editing this. You got to do a lot of editing here with my leaving and coming back in the first 15 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
Adrian, $5 in the chat. If you could pull this up, and then we'll go with it, guys. We're gonna do a Q&A. I got an 11:30 out here. We're gonna do a Q&A at the end, but I'm gonna do Adrian's question. Do you think this affects Royal Rumble in any way, or is it too soon for him to? I don't think it's gonna impact Rumble. I think it's too. You know what? I don't think it's gonna impact Rumble.
No, I feel like Rumble was probably something he was consulted on.
Possibly.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think the big moments he probably had to okay. You know? If Triple H was like, I'm putting the belt on LA Knight tomorrow, you know, Vince would probably be like, who? Who?
Yeah. No, listen, Vince likes Hunter's booking. He always has. And Hunter's a student of Vince. He's been part of WWE creative in some capacity, right? In some capacity since 1996, 7?
Crazy. 20 plus years.
I don't think people Triple H was always very hands-on with that company. So was Shawn. You know, Shawn and him have been very hands-on from pushing in or politicking or whatever you want to call it. This guy been there for 20 something years. It's not like he has a very far out mentality for pro wrestling that Vince McMahon does. He's a student of Vince. We tend to like Hunter's because he's actually a wrestler that has a little bit of a more of like a higher wrestler. I mean, much higher wrestling IQ than Vince does. But as far as the overall presentation, I think all these guys are on the same page.
Yeah, I think so. There's probably like different points of contention, but you know, when you're in the boardroom like that, it's like I have to assume it's almost no hard feelings.
Listen, man, influence is big, right? Influence is big, and your mentors and your influences in your business, you are always going to kind of fall in line with that. And for Steph and Hunter, their philosophy is not so much different than Vince's. I mean, Nick Khan came in there, and I would say he's the most instrumental part of that company. And I think Vince recognized that for a long time. Now, I don't know the inner politics of pushing him out as far as Nick wanting him out or whatever, but I could tell you, in speaking to people in that company, top people, they very much, even though they didn't want Vince to come back in a powerful role like this, I think some of it is their own survival.
Yeah.
They still very much respect him.
Oh,
very
for
much,
sure.
Very much. And they truly, I mean, we know Vince as the character. We know Vince for being out of his mind. We know Vince for, you know, the scandals. But the day-to-day operations, this guy is a machine.
Which is, again, it's wild that it's a 75-year-old man who just won't give up.
Yeah.
That's a testament to his staying power. It's bananas. The whole situation's bananas, you know, but it's going to play out. Hopefully, we'll see some more interesting news about it within the next couple of days.
A top
before the
female
end of the day
talent
today.
Tim B. A top female talent is disgusted. A top female talent, if truly disgusted, have grounds to sue if their contract's nullified now, but they aren't actually upset. I don't understand that. But you really, what are they going to do? They can't leave. They're under a contract.
Yeah.
Listen, I hear a lot of stuff from there, and there's two versions of everything. There's one that publicly what everybody says, and then what they actually feel. And that goes both ways on Vince, right?
Oh, yeah.
There are people that came out adamant that Vince, they kind of put it out there that they're happy Vince is gone. But in reality, they're just doing that to be public facing and say what people want to hear. There's a lot of talent in that company that wanted Vince there. But there's plenty of people, I think I would say a small handful wanted Vince there. I would say the majority of people that interact with him day to day, they were fine with him not being there.
Right.
All right, I'll just say it that way to kind of clear that. All right. Guys, hey, before we move on, there's a lot of people here. Hit the subscribe button for us on YouTube. We're going to hit 10,000 subscribers this year. We've restarted this channel like twice. We were on the GFQ channel for a long time. We came here. We're on Observer also. We're on Twitch. Hit the subscribe button. Everything helps that you guys do. Also, subscribe to the podcast. We're everywhere podcasts are available. Also, guys, submit your questions with the hashtag AskMattMen. Let's go to something else, Rich. We'll come back to Vince. We'll come back to Vince at the end.
I'm sure it'll peter back in. Guys, get your questions ready. Get your super chats ready. We're moving on. SmackDown is tonight, but last week, John Cena's return boosted SmackDown to its best viewership in 2 years. 2.629 mil and a 0.64 in the demo. John Cena was back, baby. Now
I can't believe how they were shaming his bald spot.
Now, well, that was my follow-up question, Andrew. Since you're a hair aficionado, you're a hair fan number one.
I am, yeah.
How did you feel about John the mop on Cena's head?
Let me just tell you my credentials here. You ready? Where's my award? My children took my award.
He had the best hair don't care award.
I have an award from the Follicular Unit Extraction Conference in Manchester for my achievements as a top person in the field. Okay. I'm a self-appointed member of the board of the American Hair Loss Association. So I know what I'm talking about with hair here. He was getting shamed. They're like, well, he can't do something about the bald spot. I'm like, listen, if I was John, I would have put a little Topic on. I would have sprayed a little bit of Topic to cover it. But what do you want? He's a 40-something-year-old guy.
And a billionaire.
And a billion, yeah, and a very successful millionaire. So
yeah, who cares?
So they did their best rating in 2 years, 2.629 million with a 0.64 in the demo. Very high demo numbers. The highlights included a return of John Cena teaming up with Kevin Owens against the Bloodline. John Cena did nothing. He stood on the apron. He called spots as loud as he could, telling him to stay down, hit me, don't hit me.
Slow, pin me.
It was fun. It was fun to watch, and he did nothing. He did a 5-knuckle shuffle and a whatever else. Well,
you got the old school kind of moment when The Rock and somebody else would do their people's elbow. So him and Kevin Owens doing like the double 5-knuckle shuffle was a lot of fun. Really quick, Andrew, I got a pitch for you.
Yeah,
you know Cake Boss?
Yeah, I know Cake Boss.
I think you should pitch Hair Boss.
Oh.
Where
so what do I do?
It's either you judge hair or you help someone who needs better hair in some kind of like life-changing
But
thing.
Are we a family business in Hoboken? Is that the premise too?
Sure. It's a combination of Cake Boss and Crisley.
All right, cool.
And for some reason RuPaul's Drag Race.
And RuPaul's Drag Race. All right, you know what? Combine the three.
And then you get Hair Boss.
And then we get Hair Boss. Yeah, I love it. Let's see. So John Cena highlights. That was cool. Charlotte returned to beat Ronda Rousey in an impromptu match, which was really wacky. Ronda had a match, and then Charlotte came out and beat her for the title. So she's a 100-time women's champion in that company. I think 15-time women's champion in the company.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I want to see? This is here's a dream match of mine. Charlotte versus Jade Cargill.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Right?
Yeah, I would love to see that. I got to tell you, though, people in WWE are very impressed with Jade.
And they let her go, too. She was in that class of what's it called? The Performance Center?
The Performance Center. My hair is out of control today. Look at this. Talking about hair, I'm having a very bad hair day. It's the humidity today here.
Does it bother you when you can see yourself in the monitor and you feel like your hair is out of place?
Yeah, I don't like the angle that this camera's in, because this is a backup camera that I had to connect. Let's see what else. Money in the Bank. Oh, Bray Wyatt was attacked by Uncle Howdy. You think Vince is into Uncle Howdy?
I don't think so. I would say probably. Or he doesn't know what's going on. I also think Uncle Howdy's edgy.
What the hell is this? Imagine it's Vince the whole time. WWE Money in the Bank taking place in London at the O2 Arena will be hosted on July 1st. It'll air 3 p.m. Eastern on a holiday weekend in the U.S. Rich, you're coming over for barbecues, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's a date. We just made a date. That's it. July 1st.
That's right right in my lane right there.
Yeah.
July 1st, 3:00 Eastern. Huh. It's Barbecue City,
I know.
beers.
We're gonna do what we did for
wrestling.
the Saudi show. That was such a fun show. It was a Saudi show, right?
Yeah.
No. It wasn't the Saudi show. It was the Wales show, the Cardiff
Oh, that's
show.
right. Yeah. It was the
We
Cardiff
just
show.
grilled. We had like a little party, and people came over, and we were grilling in the yard. It was fantastic, and we had it on a screen. I'm getting an outdoor TV this year.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I'm getting an outdoor TV, so that'll be fun. The Young Bucks are set to renegotiate their contract, which is up this year. That's also a quick little highlight here. Let's go into Wrestle Kingdom, and then we'll go into we'll do Wrestle Kingdom. We'll do quick AEW Dynamite, and we'll go into Q&As.
So I thought Wrestle Kingdom was a great show.
Loved it.
Very solid. I think it was the best Wrestle Kingdom in the over the last few years.
Yes,
like
100%.
Last year's, when I think about it, I'm like, 3 nights? What happened? So here are the highlights. Kairi, formerly Kairi Sane in WWE, successfully retained her IWGP Women's title over Tam Nakano.
Good match.
Good match. It's very cool that that IWGP. There's a lot of emphasis on that IWGP Women's belt now, right? Out comes Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Mone. Here comes the Mone. Hits Kairi with her new finisher, sort of, and challenges her for the women's title at Battle in the Valley on February 18th in San Jose.
Cool. I'm into this. So,
She looks
Mercedes
awesome.
Mone, not Monet, Mone.
Is it Monet?
Mone. Mercedes Mone.
Mone.
I have the same outfit, by the way, that she wore. And that's what I'm going to wear on Hair Boss. When I'm judging I'm going to wear that
you gotta
outfit.
do your hair like that.
Yeah,
You
I'm going
gotta
to do my
do
hair
like
just like that, too. Good for Sasha, good for Mercedes. Good to see that she's back. She looked great. She got so much criticism, okay?
Why?
I saw they're like, why is she doing an early NXT promo? That was one, okay? Like, why is her like cadence? 2, they said that she botched her finish. She didn't botch her finish. Actually, Kairi took it wrong. Kairi took the move a little wrong. Second, she was speaking differently because guess what? That's an international promo.
Right.
It's a non-English speaking country. You kind of change your wording a little bit.
Yeah, you got to slow it down
to
a little
cater
bit.
to that crowd. So,
Right.
yeah, of course her promo was a little different. People are so quick to judge, like let her marinate a little bit in there. She came out for like 3 seconds, did something, and she left. Very cool. I was into it.
Very cool.
Yes.
I was sorry. The cadence, as far as the crowd itself was a little low, and people were complaining about that. But it was because of the rules that Japan has in state about crowds. So that was something that I think people didn't take right. They thought that, she's not over because no one's cheering for her.
I can't believe this Vince McMahon story is so big that Suncast actually showed up at 10 o'clock in the morning to watch the show.
I know. Well, 11 o'clock his time. 9 o'clock his time, right?
No. He's same time as us.
Is it MG? Are you the same time zone?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I had to make sure there for a second.
You had to think about it. She hit her knee finish.
I still think she's on loan from WWE.
Listen, possible. She thanked Vince. She thanked Hunter. We'll see what happens. Well, actually, we'll see what happens on the 11th. I think she's going there to AEW. She'll be there. I think this is people getting worked a little bit.
All right.
Yeah. Work. It's my Rihanna. All right. Carl Anderson loses a never title to Tama Tonga. Kenny Omega. You know what? I thought that was a better match than he had previously. All right. They have to get the title off of him. Kenny Omega defeated Will Osprey to win the what title, Rich?
The IEGP US title.
Apparently.
For a second time.
Thank you, MJ. Kenny Omega defeated Will Osprey to win the IWGP United States title for the second time. This was a unbelievable match. Dave Meltzer gave it 6 1/4. Holy moly. I love this match. Will looked like a million. This is a Kenny we have not seen since AEW started. We never got this Kenny in AEW. His overall demeanor, his presence, the way he was, it was listen, the body language said it all. He was so comfortable.
Coming out with the actual Sephiroth theme dressed as Sephiroth, fantastic. Right? The packaging was phenomenal. I think also, like, you know, if I'm going to nitpick as a wrestling fan, and like, you know, we're all huge Kenny Omega fans here, the dude is probably arguably the best wrestler in the world, right?
Ever. Arguably ever? I mean, definitely in the top 10. Like, I'm not talking about character. I'm not talking about the Steve Austins. And I'm saying as a professional wrestler.
Right. As a wrestler, like a worker. Oh, my God. Now, we had this discussion in our little group chat going where, you know, he really turns it on when he's in Japan. And I think it's a respect thing with him, you know, like he has to give those people like everything. Whereas like sometimes in the States, it kind of feels like he's just doing a clinic because he's that good. Right.
Yeah.
Like, no, if you really think about it, pound for pound, who in AEW is as good in the ring as Kenny Omega?
In AEW?
Mm-hmm.
No one. I don't even think they're. I mean, listen, AEW has the best talent in the world. I mean, arguably, right? The access to the talent that they have. I mean, you could Roosh, an unbelievable. I'm talking in ring. I'm talking about in ring, just IQ. Roosh,
exactly.
Bandito, Moxley, Kenny, the Bucks, Cesaro, Joe, Hangman. I mean, as far as in-ring abilities, I get that list goes on. Malachi, Andrade. I mean, even guys that you don't even see regularly on TV are could be arguably, you know, one of the best workers of this era. So it's not. I mean, it's unbelievable how stacked that roster is, and Kenny is number one.
It's really nuts, right? And it's like the crispness, the smoothness, like it's that entire in-ring package. It's very, you know, like he's in a match like this, that dude is so fascinating to watch, you know, and I think him and Osprey really pushed it, and I'm excited to see that rematch.
Dude, Osprey, he's remarkable. He really is. He's really one of the best, and he's continuing to grow. You know who put on some size?
Your
Zack
boy
Sabre Jr.
Yeah,
it's getting a little full.
Does that make you happy?
It does. Yeah, I think he needs it. I think he needs the size. He's another fantastic wrestler. Let's go to the main show here. Main show, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. You want to go run down this list for me? Sorry.
So IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, Catch 222, Francesco Akira and TJP defeated Chaos, Leo Rush and Yo. We talked about Kyrie and Tam Nakano. Bishamon took the tag belts, the heavyweight tag belts from FTR. That was actually a great match.
Very good match.
I love Goto. I love Goto, and this, I'm not going to say it sold me on Yoshihashi, but I'm like, all right, you know, it's a great tag team.
I'm not sold on Yoshihashi ever. I don't know why. It just doesn't do it for me.
We had the New Japan World TV Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. beating Ren Narita. Solid match. Zach, like you said, Zach's bulking up, and at the end of the match, he joined the Mighty Don't Kneel.
Yeah.
This was a fun one. Not the Great Muta, but the man. Is they're doing the McFoley gimmick almost. Kenji Muta, his last New Japan match, teaming with Tanahashi and Shota Umino, Shooter, beating LIJ, Naito, Sonata, and Bushi. A lot of the guys in this ring had such a history with Muta. And listen, fun match. Shooter got the pin. Everybody went home happy.
Yeah. Muta was not happy with this match.
Really?
Yeah, he was he got out of that fucking ring as fast as he could. He was not thrilled with that match. He was I don't know if it was like he wanted the attention on him. He wanted to take the pin. He didn't take the pin. He was not happy. Hey, did you watch the Nakamura match?
Love top to bottom. Love. So that was Great Muta versus Nakamura. Great Muta versus Nakamura in the Noah event from this past weekend.
How about the post match interview that Muta gave?
A little cringy. I'll admit that. A little cringy.
I mean,
does not bear to be repeated.
It does not bear to be repeated. Yeah, but you know, maybe it's a language change. Maybe the emphasis on the words he used is not as offensive.
For those folks not aware, Muda has been doing a retirement tour, and he's hand selecting his opponents. Shinsuke Nakamura was on loan from WWE to fight in a Noah ring in Japan over the weekend. Phenomenal match, full blown Nakamura entrance with the violinist, I forget his name, and the end of the match was
Lee
something
England Jr.
Lee England Jr. The end of the match is something we've never seen before. Nakamura sucked the poison mist out of Muda's mouth, spit it back at him, and then hit him with the Bomaye.
Yeah.
Great ending.
Yeah, fantastic match, dude. Great match.
Yeah.
Loved it. I
Great
loved
match.
it. Yeah, I loved the whole presentation. It was great.
That press conference, not so much.
Yeah. Zack Sabre Jr. Defeated Ren Narita. We said that. Never Openweight Championship. Tama defeated Carl Anderson. We went through there. Keiji Muto. We went through there. IWGP Junior titles. We spoke about that. Kenny Omega. We went in detail. And the main event, Kazuchika Okada defeated Jay White for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Okada looks like $1 million freaking bucks, dude.
$1 million with the nod to Antonio Inoki.
Anthony Inoki.
Mm.
Anthony. He's from Bensonhurst.
Mm-hmm.
You know where Inoki's from?
Bensonhurst. You just said it.
Bensonhurst.
Jersey.
He's from Brazil.
He's a Jersey boy.
Isn't he from Brazil?
I'm not sure.
I think he's from Brazil.
Yeah. I know he has an interesting international history.
I think he lived in Brazil for a little bit. Anthony
yeah.
Inoki from 18th Ave in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. All right.
New Year's Dash the next day. Jay White blaming Hikuleo for losing his title and challenged him to a loser leaves town match, a loser leaves New Japan match.
Okay, so who leaves?
That's interesting. Is Jay White's contract up soon?
I don't know. I got to look at it. My brain has been a fog. But Hikuleo is 6'8", dude. 6'9".
Yeah, big boy.
He's a big boy. You know.
Well, isn't it around time to send Hikuleo on an excursion?
Yeah, probably. I think so. I think he could benefit from leaving. So I don't know if he'll leave or Jay White, but someone leave. This was a fun team up. Kenny Omega and Okada teamed up to beat United Empire.
So good.
Big surprise.
That's gotta be intimidating to be across the ring from arguably two of the greatest performers of all effing time.
Yeah. Also, sources within WWE do not believe Mercedes Mone will wrestle for AEW. Dave, our very own Dave, just Dave, not Dave Meltzer, just a guy named Dave, also added that he does not expect her to be at Dynamite next week. But, you know, they were kind of teasing it on TV last week on Dynamite, and I don't know. I'm leaning towards she is showing up in AEW.
You mean because of that Britt Baker promo?
The Britt Baker promo and the setup with Shida.
Boss, I'm the boss. Who's the boss? Tony Danza. I'm the boss.
I'm the boss. It's Tony Danza. Where's Mona?
Exactly.
Where's Mona?
It all adds up.
You know, he went back to teaching after he retired from acting. He just became a science teacher in Brooklyn. No, I think in Connecticut he was teaching.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah. Who's the boss? Let's go into AEW Dynamite. We'll go through this very quickly, and then we're going to do the rest of our Q&As. They debuted the new set and the video package. I thought the set looked great. Good job by them. Audio issues throughout the entirety of the show. This is their first show in Seattle. Over 8,000 people in the building. A lot of Defy workers were on the show. On the pre-show, there were, squash matches, but they were around. They utilized local talent, which is great. Ricky Starks defeated Chris Jericho after JAS attacked Starks. Action Andretti. He's a race car driver. You know what? Make him a race car driver. Action Andretti. Give him the Bob Holly gimmick. I'm into it. The race car jacket, got the mobile, the oil, the Castrol GTX thing, patches all over him.
All the sponsors.
All the sponsors. Just put all the sponsors. Jimmy John's. Action Andretti tried to make the save, but got a nut shot by Tay. Hager ended up powerbombing Starks through the table from the ring apron, but Ricky Starks got the win. All right, cool. Hangman Page and Jon Moxley This promo went all over the place. It kind of fell apart because of technical issues.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was fun. It was. I couldn't stop giggling after Hangman said he was going to knock Moxley's dick in the dirt, which made me think like, John Moxley's dick is about to cut one hell of a promo. Yeah, there were audio issues. I think Mox had to repeat himself. I feel like if it wasn't for the audio issues, it would have been a home run. But it was great. Like I think both these guys have a lot of chemistry together, and this is going to set up Hangman even more so in that main event picture. It's gonna make Hangman just that much tougher.
But
right?
they're returning back to this. I want to see something different.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Well, they have to go back to this because he's healed from getting knocked out.
Yeah, I get it. Moxley started the promo with the audio all over. He dropped an F-bomb twice during his upsetness. This is 2 weeks in a row now we've had the F-bomb. We had, what was it last week or the week before? We had
Rick
Ross say MFer and Keith Lee do the cringe face with the cut his mic. Okay, here's something. The Acclaimed, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens with Daddy Ass defeated Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal with Sanjay and Satnam Singh. I got to tell you, so the build up to this was fantastic. Jarrett did a whole thing on his podcast with Conrad. Last week, Max Caster did the rap on Jarrett and his wife and Kurt Angle. You stole Kurt's wife, whatever it was. Karen Angle went on Twitter and lost her marbles. She went berserk and said essentially that Kurt Angle had an affair or cheated on her with Dawn Marie and Kelly Kelly.
Oh boy.
Kurt Angle denied it. And then Jarrett cut a promo on Kurt, like, why are you mentioning me on his podcast with Conrad? Then he attacked Max Caster and he told me he's going to give him a receipt. So they built this up for the super fans, and people are very invested in this. Jeff Jarrett's great. I don't care what anybody says. This dude is out of. Did you see his dastardly heel run on he did this little tiptoe? If you did one of these.
If you fell asleep, let's say you fell asleep for 20 years, or you just woke up from a coma, and you it happened in 98, 99, and then you wake up and you're like, what year is it? And they're like, it's 2023. Oh, put some wrestling on. Holy shit, it's Jeff Jarrett. Would you go back to sleep?
I wouldn't believe what's happening. I mean, old man Jarrett with his 1776 hairdo is fantastic.
That he's Mark Twain in it, baby. So
by the way, I just triggered MG Geek. The lights are going off in his head.
And he's like, I want to be Mark Twain.
Yeah.
So they Dusty finished it. Aubrey Edwards came out to reverse the call, and the call was that Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett won. Now, if they won, would you have done a backflip?
If they became the new champion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's such a good troll. They trolled the fans. Everybody's like, well, Jarrett's not going to get a title. And oh, crap, here he is. Listen, you can say all you want about Jeff Jarrett's reign of terror in TNA and whatever, but the dude is resilient and still works unbelievably, throws the best punch in the business still. Yep. He's great. Not great.
Wild. And I also liked how it's almost like it's wild seeing Billy Gunn again with the Acclaimed. The Immortal Billy Gunn.
The Immortal Billy Gunn, yeah.
Up next, we had Bryan Danielson beating Tony Nese, Long Island boy. And that leads into the Bryan Danielson MJF promo back and forth, setting up the main event for Revolution. If Ian O'Brien can survive his next 8 opponents.
15 opponents, yeah. So I guess he's going to run a gauntlet of... Does MJF pick who he faces?
I think so. It's going to, it's going to be like Morrissey, all those, whatever those guys are called.
Yeah.
The Office Space, the faction,
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. MJF
actually the first opponent's Takeshita. So
Takeshita, yeah.
Oh,
so
really? It's going to be a good match.
That's tonight. Is that not, or that's next week?
That's Dynamite.
That next week. Okay, great.
He's going to wrestle every week on Dynamite. He's got to win them all for the.
By the way, I'm looking forward to that match tremendously, and there's a big push coming for that boy.
For
big
Takeshita.
Push. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, guy's great.
So he had some great lines. MJF said if Lance Storm and Dean Ambrose, wow, that'd be fun. Lance Storm and Dean Malenko could have a child, he'd be more charismatic than Danielson. It popped me, and I messaged my buddy Lance, and I was like, "You hear this?" And he tweeted. He sent me. He put out a tweet about it, which was hysterical. But nice to hear Lance's name on. I'd love to see Lance do something. I really wanted to see when Jericho was doing his gauntlet of like people that he was wrestling. Remember when he wrestled? If Necro Butcher was around at that point, he would have probably wrestled Necro Butcher too. I would have loved to see him and Lance in another match.
It would be great if Lance wrestled Danielson in one of these 8 upcoming matches.
So good. That'd be so good.
He just starts yelling, "I'm not your dad.
I'm not your dad."
One of the things that MJF did, which really popped me, was saying about his detractors and supporters, and he was like, "I have the best supporters: Disco Inferno, Jim Cornette."
Vince, what did he say? He said Disco Inferno, Jim Cornette. Who else did he say? Eric Bischoff. Yeah.
Very good tongue in cheek.
Yeah, very very good stuff. Swerve Strickland defeated AR Fox.
Great match.
Great match. You know, I'm gonna be honest.
also.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Okay, I was a little stoned at this point when this match went on. Okay, and when AR Fox came out, I'm like, oh shit, it's Chavo.
Oh boy.
I saw the fucking bandana, and I was like, I had to look for like 3 extra seconds that I shouldn't have. And for whatever reason, like I was like, and then I was like in my mind, I'm like, I'd like to see Chavo wrestle.
Oh, for sure.
I was so stoned out of my mind. I took a BK broiler, one of those caramels, and it put me on the freaking moon. They did reference their feud in Lucha Underground during this match. I thought it was fun. The crowd was so hot for this. AR Fox, fantastic dude. I've seen him wrestle in Evolve. You and I both have seen him wrestle in Evolve. Same thing with Swerve. Swerve is fantastic. AR is fantastic. I'm glad to see AR Fox on TV. Very good wrestler.
Same here.
Very, very good wrestler that has gone kind of under the radar as far as mainstream wrestling goes. But now he's on TV, so it's fantastic. Great. Love it. Mm-hmm. Renee Paquette interviewed Saraya, Tony Storm, and Sheeta. Saraya put over both ladies before telling Tony Storm that she's the partner. Sheeta felt slighted. She was very confused, and it was very awkward for her. So
awkward. You mean awkward?
Awkward. Awkward. It's awkward. Here's the second one. We need to make a list of all the F-ups that he has. TBS champion Jade Cargill and Red Velvet defeated Sky Blue and Kiera Hogan.
That was fun.
Red Velvet walked out on Jade, but she still won. Darby Allin, this was a great match. Darby Allin defeated Samoa Joe to win the AEW TNT title. Darby Allin, Seattle boy, local homegrown guy for them. Washington dude. The crowd was so into him. Super hot crowd. Allin got out of a rear naked. Darby got out of rear naked after he beat his chest, Sting style. Joe hit him with hit the exposed turnbuckle. Darby hit a code red and 2 coffin drops to win the title after Sting came out, and he was so proud of his son.
My boy.
And then Nick Wayne got in the ring. Future big star in the business, Nick Wayne. And it was a nice thing because Buddy Wayne trained. Buddy Wayne, his father, trained Darby Allin. Also, Buddy Wayne trained Brian Alvarez, our very own Brian Alvarez.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there was a lot of Seattle stuff happening, which is very, very cool. Loved it. Loved the show. AEW Rampage for tonight. Danielson and Moxley versus Top Flight. We hear from the House of Black. How do you say this last name?
Pero Peligroso.
Thank you. Pero Peligroso. So sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
Spoken like a true white man.
Spoken like a true gringo. Pero Peligroso. There's an L I'm putting in, and I should not be putting that L.
Well, the L is there. You're just putting it in the wrong place.
I'm putting the L like near the end. AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker take on the Renegade Twins. Ooh, the Renegade Twins. Is it Lorenzo Lamas and his twin? The Renegade Twins? For anybody from the early 90s that got that reference. AEW battled the belts following AEW Rampage.
Cool.
Right? This is tonight, right, MG?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, back to back.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
The Acclaim. Where are you? Why are you on a 50? What satellite feed are we using for this remote that you're on?
I think the weather, it's a little cloudy out, so the tin can gets a little rusty.
You know what it's like? You know when like it's like they went over to like digital for like the news feeds, and it's like this guy's like in Gush Katif, and you're in Washington, and they're like live from Gush Katif, we have Matt. Yes, hi Don.
I'm here.
I'm here live in Gush Katif, Gaza. That was a little reference to the G. Gordon Liddy show that took place in Gush Katif. Nobody gets that reference. G. Gordon Liddy. Let's see. Acclaim defends the AEW Championship against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal in no holds barred match. Jade Cargill defends the TBS title against Sky Blue. Orange Cassidy defends the All Atlantic title against Kip Sabian. All right. I'm not going to go into Dynamite for next week. We will go directly into Q&As. We have 10 minutes here, boys and girls. So let's go into our Q&A.
The award show real quick?
Yes, award show. You want to do it Tuesday?
We're doing Tuesday, right?
Yes, Tuesday we will do our... MG Geek worked very hard on this, and I hope you guys tune in for it. It's our third annual Matt Men Award Show, where we give our favorite moments an award here on the show.
I'll put the link to vote. The vote will close on Sunday night. I'll put it in both chats here.
Yeah.
Okay. Question time.
Thank you. All the Spanish speakers in the chat room are mocking me now. My wife's family would be very disappointed in me for calling him what did I call him? Pelagroso.
I don't even know, man. You butchered
Pedrogloso. I did butcher it. I apologize. Don't cancel me, please. All right. Q&A time, boys and girls. Submit your questions here, and we will do our best to answer it. MG, get the questions ready.
MG, you got to jump on those super chats. I think we had a couple more.
Fast.
Ryan Martin's $4.99. So how long before the mass firings start, and how long before people who recently came back look to exit, like Regal, Road Dogg, or Bray Wyatt? There was no comma in that question, and I like the name Regal Road Dogg.
I like Regal Road Dogg. I don't see Regal leaving. I don't see Road Dogg leaving, and I don't see Bray leaving at this point because he is under a contract, and they are very invested in his whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to let this play out. Did your lights go off? Ooh, it's nice and dark. I like this.
Spooky. It's very spooky right now.
It is. I like it. You look good though. I like it.
Thank you.
It's not bad.
This is a spooky hour.
All right. What else?
Shadows. This is from Balor Club guy. Good morning, my Matt Men. The Royal Rumble poster is interesting as it features Cody Rhodes and lightning bolts. Does this pretty much confirm The Rock for the Rumble? Ooh,
I saw
like Black Adam.
Yeah, well, remember he's the most electric man in all of sports.
Electronic man
in all of sports entertainment. He's a fucking robot. Can you imagine?
He's a robot that operates on a Discman. The most electronic man. Like Iron Man has the arc reactor for heart.
I'm so sorry,
The
guys.
Rock's got a Walkman.
I have to tell you, this camera breaking really fucked me up. So my brain is kind of bouncing all over the place. Listen, I heard the same things you guys have heard. I haven't heard anything in an official capacity. Every time I ask about Dwayne, I'm told whatever he wants, whenever he wants, we will do it. This is the year to do it. I've been saying this for a long time. This is the year to do it. You don't have this option. You're not going to be in LA again. And you know what? If you want to put him in the freaking Hall of Fame, isn't this the moment to do it also?
Absolutely.
If you smell what the electric man is cooking.
The electronic man.
And
the most
it's an electric fire. It's a bad plug. It's a fire somewhere. I'd love to see him at Rumble.
Yes. Does this lighting make me look horny?
Oh, yeah. Really horny. Yeah. Like Harry. He turns purple when he's horny, too. Where else? Let me tell you guys. Where else are you going to talk about professional wrestling in a business, very professional manner, and then talk about horny lighting? Nowhere else.
Horny Harry.
Only here.
And Horny Harry.
And Horny Harry. Oh, you know what? Merry Christmas, Rich. I did not wish you a Merry Christmas today.
Merry Christmas. It is...
It's Armenian Christmas. A Merry Christmas to Horny Harry Tarjanian and all our 5 Armenian fans around the world.
To all the Christian Orthodox out there, Merry Christmas.
It's not. Well, yeah, tomorrow's Orthodox Christmas.
No, it's today. It's the 6th.
Two different. No. Very
Well,
different.
the
I went
Greeks-
down this rabbit hole. The Greeks do not. But
Yeah, they do.
No, the Greeks do not. The Russians, the Ukrainians, like Western Orthodox, I'm sorry, Eastern Orthodox, they celebrate it. However, they celebrate it because of the Julian calendar. They are on a Julian calendar. That is the only reason.
I'm pretty positive we both grew up with people who celebrate Christmas on the 6th because, if you recall, they did not get their presents until January 6th, which I always thought was bogus.
I thought that was bogus too. John Alba, Merry Christmas to you all.
John Alba, so anything interesting happened today?
Oh, dude. I got to talk to John Alba. I got to tell him he's doing a great show with Eric Bischoff, okay? And I stumbled on it. And I loved you, John. I really do. And I don't mean this in a way. I didn't know that it was on the main 83 weeks feed, okay? I'm going to find this here. 83 weeks. I want to find the topic for this week. This has become one of my go-to listens, where it's called Strictly Business, and it's him and Bischoff, and they're talking about professional wrestling, and they talk about the business end of wrestling. Very cool stuff, okay? I heard the one with Sean that you guys did with Bischoff and John. The prediction show was great this week, and I have to tell you, if there were 3 guys in the pro wrestling business with the best hair, Eric Bischoff, John Alba, and myself. So please tell Eric that. I thought it was. I very much liked the show Strictly Business. You got to check it out.
You got to get them on Hair Boss.
I got to get him on Hair Boss. I'm doing a new show called Hair Boss where I just rank people's hairs.
I do think that John Alba
tell Eric
is one of your burner accounts.
Tell Eric I'm a big fan of his hair. You know, it's been an instrumental part of my life. Chris Van Vliet too. Great hair on him. Strictly Hair Business with Eric Bischoff, Andrew Zarian, John Alba, and Chris Van Vliet. That's the new show coming. We're starting it this year. We just talk about wrestlers' hairs.
His.
Let's
see here. This is Ask Matt Men. What 4 wrestlers would you want to go on a cross-country road trip in a mobile home with? 2 men and 2 women. I don't think I want to do that.
Okay, that's a great question. Cross-country road trip in a mobile home, like in an RV, right? With 2 men and 2 women. It would have to be 2 people that wouldn't drive me up the wall, right?
Exactly, and 2 people who aren't that big either, because you don't want to be in a mobile home with, like, let's say like Brian Cage and like Hobbs.
No. I need like the small size guys. You know what? I'd love to be in a mobile home. I would probably pick. That's such a good question. I can't even think of this.
It really is a good question. Yeah, you know what? Right off the top of my head, I'll go Kofi and Xavier, because that's going to be fun. Play video games all day. They seem like really nice guys. 2 women, let's say Alexa Bliss and Jade Cargill.
Alexa Bliss and Jade Cargill. And then who are the men?
Xavier and Kofi.
You know what? I would love to be... You know what? Xavier and Kofi for sure. I'd love to be in a cross-country with them. And then I would do Britt Baker and... Because I have her boots here. I could at least talk to her about her boots and how I acquire that. So, like, that's like a weird thing here. Your wife's a doctor. My wife's a doctor too. So I could be like, hey, it's not a dentist, but they're both doctors. And I need a bonkers person. I need someone insane. I need one insane person.
Tommy Dreamer.
There you go. I always say that if I could have one stand-up comic show up at my house for Thanksgiving, it would have to be Joey Diaz, just to watch everybody lose their mind at how uncomfortable they get every time
Joey
he says something. Joey Coco Diaz. That's who I want in my house.
We have 3 minutes. We have time for 2 more questions.
All right, let's do it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
This is from Felzy. If you are logically drawing a conclusion that Vince has been connected behind the scenes all along, waiting for this opportunity, how could you not also conclude that he signed off on all the rehires?
I don't think he was as hands-on as listen, was he disconnected from the company? I have a difficult time believing that. Okay?
Right.
I have a difficult time believing that he's like not hands-on at all. But I don't think he was in a, especially early on with the hires, I don't think he wanted to be in a capacity where he's signing off on stuff, because that looks terrible for the company. And I think he knew that there's an investigation happening. He needs to back off. The investigation has concluded for the board. Obviously, there's an SEC investigation for other things, and more accusations have come out. But I in his mind, he believes this is a non-issue. So he's back in a more prominent way. I would find it impossible for him to be 100% detached from this, right? But I guess he's like, okay, do it, whatever. But we'll see what happens with these signings. You know, he'll give everybody a chance. If it doesn't get over, he'll pivot. All right, one more minute. One more.
We've got a quick super chat here. Don99 from Like a Rolling Stone. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. BC Knight, hashtag Ask Mattmen. We went over this before, but let's reiterate it. Who's your pick to buy WWE, and how much would it sell for?
I would go with Peacock, and it would be in the billions.
That's the logical response. My illogical response is Disney, and it would also go for the billions. You have to think who has enough money to do this, where Peacock, NBC, absolutely. I think Disney does too. I think Disney has more money than anybody, Yeah. Would they do a good job with WWE? Who knows?
Yeah.
Remember, UFC sold for $4 billion like 5 years ago, right?
Yes. But UFC was
start
very
there and go up.
I don't. Well, maybe I heard up to 14 billion. I mean, you remember WWE has things in place that UFC doesn't, like merchandising. They do much better with merchandising. Toys. They cater to a larger audience. They're on more nights. They draw higher ratings. They're very intertwined in media. They're a media company, so you're not just, and you're also getting, a billion years of archival footage. So there's always ways to make money with them. It's just a matter of, okay, you're going to invest all this money. How quick will you recoup the cost based on how much money they're bringing in every year? So you have to work that formula out. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I can't look at it, but and also it's not like buying it. You don't just buy it. It's a publicly traded company, so it's an acquisition. It's a merger. It's not you're not buying the company. Unless Vince takes it private and then sells it, which I can't see him doing because he doesn't have the cash on hand. Yeah.
We'll see. It's going to unfold within the next few months.
Yeah.
As will everything else, Yeah.
And that's it. We're done. Rich, thank you. This was a lot of fun today. Guys, thank you for joining us. I had some technical issues in the beginning. Of course I did, because it's an important freaking show and the camera stopped working. But we will be back next week. I'll be back on Sunday with the latest on this story. Possibly have Dave Meltzer on. Maybe I should have John Alba on the show. John, you want to do Sunday with me on Observer? That'll be fun. Yeah, you know what, John? You have nothing to do. You're not doing anything on Sunday. 6 o'clock, Wrestling Observer Live. Let's do it. John Alba joining me, possibly Dave Meltzer calling in, and we'll have the latest on that information going forward. Guys, we'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye for now.